All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Welcome to today's webinar. It is titled Conquer Your To-Do List, Task Tracking with Condo Control. Right, my name is Rebecca Welfley. I'm a customer marketing specialist at Condo Control, and I'll be your host and speaker for this session. I am also joined by my colleague, Maria Chocolo, Associate Product Manager at Condo Control. And she will also be speaking today, as well as participating in the Q&A session. Okay, before we get started with the webinar, just a few housekeeping reminders. This webinar is being recorded. A follow-up email will be sent to all registrants with the recording link once it becomes available. After the presentation, we'll have a formal Q&A session. So please submit any questions into the Zoom Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we will do our best to get to as many questions as we have time for. Now, please note that all attendees are muted, so if you do have a question, you need to use that Zoom Q&A. We will not be having any hands up or asking questions because people are muted. And then after the webinar, upon leaving the Zoom meeting, a survey will automatically appear in your browser to gather any feedback you may have. Okay, so on our agenda for today, we will start by discussing the real-world examples of task tracking, and then go through the value of it for your community. And then we will provide an overview of Condo Control's task tracking feature. And then after that, we'll provide some tips and tricks for optimizing task and project management, present some customer testimonials, and then have a formal Q&A session. So first, we wanted to start out with presenting some of the more common projects and real-world use cases for task and project tracking. So tasks and projects are an ongoing reality when managing a community. In today's world, we really have a lot on the go, and staying on top of that to-do list can sometimes be a big challenge. So these are some of the common tasks and projects our customers keep track of. So first, building repairs and maintenance projects. So these may include things like elevator upgrades or damage repairs, roof replacements, boiler or HVAC system overhauls. These large scale projects, they require selecting contractors or obtaining things like permits. Next, landscaping. So these kinds of tasks may include, tree pruning in your HOA, gardening. Also, expense or financial management is another big one. This may include approving annual budgets and other items discussed in board meetings. Boards must balance the regular operating expenses with reserve fund contributions and potential other big capital projects. And then other examples, some other common ones include, updating the governing documents. One big example being, changing bylaws. Changes to governing documents typically require, sometimes a formal vote from unit owners, and this, may require legal review and community meetings to achieve the necessary approvals. And then resident disputes, complaints, or other issues. It can be a challenge to keep track of these. There could be noise complaints, pet policies, or parking violations, for example. And these disputes often require things like evidence collection, a lot of back and forth communication, even warnings and potential mediation between neighbors. And then lastly, legal related tasks. So that could be disputes with contractors, disputes between residents or between board members themselves, could escalate into legal battles requiring legal counsel and mediation. So, some of these processes can drag on for a long time, and it's good to keep everything consolidated in one system to keep track of. So, as you can see with these examples, the different types of tasks and projects can certainly add up for you. So, as this quote states, for every minute spent organizing, an hour is earned by the famous Benjamin Franklin here. So for items and projects you need to do for your community, Condo Control does offer a tasks module. But before I get into the details about this feature, just wanted to briefly discuss the value of task tracking. Okay, so first, task tracking tools not only help to improve organization and the communication, but also efficiency. So automating any task reminders and due dates, it really minimizes the manual effort and reduces potential errors. Property managers can keep team members and board members in the loop by updating task progress in real time. And then from coordinating with vendors to, getting approval from the board to even notifying residents about disruptions, projects can't move forward without that proper communication. And then with task tracking, there's also improved accountability. So board members can ensure that property managers are meeting their commitments and that tasks are progressing according to plan. There's just the increased transparency into the ongoing projects, potential repairs, maintenance, etc. And then finally, task tracking leads to happier communities. So with, better task management, the issues, the complaints, all of this can be resolved more quickly, improving the overall living experience. Okay, we will now be conducting a poll for the audience. And our question today is, what is your biggest challenge with managing and tracking tasks for your community? So the first option being keeping track of deadlines. Second, assigning tasks to your team or board members. Third, monitoring the task progress. Fourth, overseeing multiple tasks across properties. Fifth, ensuring that the team or board members complete their assigned tasks. And then we also have another option, other. If there's something that is missing from this list, please specify it in the chat. All right, so we'll just allow the audience. Oh, it looks like we're at over 130 people here with us today. Please do fill out that poll and we'll see where it lands here. Okay, it looks like monitoring task progress seems to be the leader. And also just ensuring people actually do what they're assigned. It's another one that's leading. Okay, everyone. We'll just give it another minute. And then in the chat, let's see. We have nothing yet. All right. Okay, I'm going to now end this poll. Awesome. So sharing the results with everybody. So it looks like the monitoring task progress is the biggest challenge of the audience, it seems, with the second most popular being ensuring the team and board members actually complete their assigned tasks. Okay. Well, we will certainly be addressing some of these challenges with our overview of the Condo Control task tracking feature. So stay tuned on that. All right. Thanks, everybody. Okay. So next, I'm just going to do an overview of Condo Control's task tracking feature. Okay, so essentially this feature is used by administrators to organize, monitor, and manage tasks and activities that need to be completed within the community. So with this feature, you can log tasks, and track tasks directly from meeting minutes. You can add a due date, you can appoint tasks to the right people, and mark tasks complete. So again, addressing that challenge that people stated in the poll, that getting the right people to do and complete the assigned tasks. Votes can be submitted electronically for projects or actions that require approval. So for example, something like a renovation quote, for example. And we also have built-in email notifications so that you can stay on top of a task. So that is, when following a task, you can be notified of any updates, and you can also choose to be notified when you're assigned a new task. And Maria will go into more detail on what this looks like shortly with our product demo. But first, just wanted to go through a little bit of a list of the key benefits here. So tasks and deadlines are made clear to board members. All items are centralized and organized in one location, making it easier, to complete work and assign projects. Also, issues can be resolved in less time. Notifications, really help ensure no project is forgotten. And lastly, you can track and analyze the completion times to identify inefficiencies in some of these projects. So how does this feature work? What does it look like within the system? I am now going to switch over to Maria, who will be providing a demo.
Hello everyone. Marie from Product here. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's a very valuable time for a lot of you, especially those that are joining during the lunch. So without further ado, let's just dive in. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen in a second. Okay, so just like Rebecca mentioned, the task tracking feature within Condo Control helps the property managers and board members. I do see one of the questions in the Q&A, especially about the access to this feature, to keep track of tasks that need to be completed, are currently in progress, or have been completed already. It also facilitates the decision-making process between the board of directors. So our task tracking features offers different abilities, and let's just dive into some of the features involved here. So the list page of the tasks allow you to filter all of the tasks that have been created based on the status of the task. And most importantly, if you have some of the information that has been updated since the last time you opened this feature, you can see all of the unread tasks here at the top, marked with a particular flag, and you can just as well filter by just unread tasks. So in general, we see it pretty useful, especially if you do not rely on your email communication and you want to just log into Condo Control and view everything that needs your attention in one glance. Now let's dive into how to add a new task. It's done pretty easily. All you need to do is just to enter all the necessary details that you want to share with your staff members or fellow board of directors. You set up what is a status. Most likely this will be a task that you are currently working on. You assign the task either to a particular individual, which could be a board of directors, property manager, or maybe someone from your maintenance team. Or you can just as well assign it to a particular group, like board of directors, so that everyone who is in that group can be notified and act accordingly. The other useful option is collecting a vote. And I will dive into collecting the votes a little bit later to demonstrate you how this feature works. The idea is just to select users that have the ability to submit their vote, and they will be notified accordingly to submit their vote on a particular matter. You can also add some attachments, save the tasks, and off it goes. So if you go back to the list of the tasks, we can see that all of the information that is within the task is trackable in terms of all the history changes and everything that you want to add on here, including maybe some additional images to have a historical reference to, let's say, all the building repairs that you have in your building. So now let's talk about the voting process. So let's take an example of a chargeback that is happening in your building. And let's say you have a number of users that have to vote on a particular decision regarding the chargeback. So if you're selected as a voter, as I am right now, I will see the option to submit a vote. I can just as well see all of the collected votes, including the commentary that has been submitted by individuals. So when I vote, I can see, what am I actually voting on as a description here. I can vote easy in favor, against, or abstain, and I can add a comment. So let's say I'm saying that I vote in favor, and I will save my vote, which means that anyone who have access to this task can see that now this vote is submitted, and if 2 votes is sufficient for proceeding to this task, everyone can move forward. All right, so this pretty much covers the voting capability. You can also see that every task in our system has the ability to print it in case you need, to use the task module to give some directions to your internal staff or maybe the maintenance team. And you can just as well follow all tasks in case you want to be always kept in the loop in case there are any new tasks created, any updates or votes submitted on that. Another very important part of the task feature is reporting. I'm pretty sure everyone who joined here loves reports. They keep us very much organized, and I would probably highlight the board meeting reports. That is a very good way to combine the information on 2 important features used in Condo control, and easily export the information to discuss it in, let's say, a monthly board meeting. So the board meeting report, I will not really focus on the service request and dive right into the tasks. The report displays to you all of the outstanding tasks, which means that the tasks have not yet been closed and need sudden discussion. And you can always filter by a particular time period. It doesn't have to be this month. It can be a larger period of time. And you can see all of the information, including collected votes on each of the tasks, and you can export it in any format that you wish. The additional 2 reports that we have in our system allow you to view the information specifically about the task summary or detailed tasks. So if I very briefly dive into both of those reports, you can see that one of them just represents you the list of all the information. That can be a very brief overview that you can quickly export and share with your team. And if you want to dive deeper into that or track it for some of your historical purposes, you can just as well print the whole task details to get all of the updates on one page. All right, so that's pretty much for our task demo. We definitely will answer all of the questions in the Q&A.
Thank you,
Off to
Maria.
Rebecca.
Awesome. Thank you for that insightful demo. I will now go into the tips and tricks section here. So just give me one moment. All right, here we go. Awesome. You can see my screen all right? Maria? Yeah, okay. All right, everybody. So the tips and tricks. So first tip is to break large projects into smaller tasks. You want to maybe assign some of the smaller subtasks to different team members. We also suggest taking advantage of those email notifications and reminders. So, you want to enable the automatic reminders and for approaching deadlines, overdue tasks, or updates. And so, you want to customize these reminders as well to notify different team members depending on their role, ensuring that the right people are alerted when action is required. And then we also suggest regularly reviewing and adjusting the task priorities. So either conducting weekly or bi-weekly reviews of that task list to adjust the priorities based on shifting timelines or any emerging issues. And then, we also suggest using Condo Control's Reports tab that Maria showed to, view the reports. As we saw here, there's different board meeting reports that, summarizes all task and service request activity as occurred since the last board meeting, for example, or the summary list of open tasks. So we definitely suggest utilizing that. And then tips and tricks, again, for within the task itself, adding attachments. So as you saw, Maria had a picture of some of the, interior building repairs that need to be done. So we suggest, using photos, quotes, invoices, emails, etc. You can attach them to the tasks themselves. And then leveraging mobile access. So we definitely encourage people to use the mobile app for quick updates and check-ins on the go. And it's also something to, it's easy to, upload a photo directly from your phone to the mobile app. We definitely recommend that. And yeah, this definitely helps for ensuring the real-time accuracy of your task tracking. So just for a screenshot of what this looks like, here's the list of tasks within the mobile app, and then you can create a new task, as you can see here with this screen. Definitely recommend leveraging that. All right. Next, I want to just present some customer testimonials on this task tracking feature. And the first one, it comes from all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, Renee Donaldson. She's the president of the board of directors at Heritage Landing Condo Corp. I find the task tracking module very helpful as it allows our core team to assign tasks as needed, track the progress of each task, and see them on one document when the report is pulled. Using the task list report ensures no task falls off the agenda prematurely. Thank you to your team for a great tracking feature. Thank you, Renee, for that testimonial. Next, all the way across the globe from the Philippines, we have Ella Joy Abarintos from Icon Residences. She says, we appreciate Condo Control's task module for its convenience and time-saving capabilities. It streamlines our process for seeking board approval, allowing us to efficiently manage concerns without the need for lengthy discussions in every board meeting. This ultimate efficiency not only enhances our workflow, but also empowers us to address organizational issues more proactively. Thank you, Ella, for that testimonial. And then finally, from Toronto, Ontario, Jitender Kaur is a property manager at the Infinity One condos. They say all the modules in Condo Control have been exceptionally helpful in managing our operations. I must say that our recent addition of the tasks module has been quite valuable in terms of organization. It has streamlined our daily tasks and fostered better communication within my team, making everything more efficient and effective. Thank you, Jitender, for that. And finally, as we wrap up, just wanted to review some of the key takeaways from today's presentation. So talked about the value of task tracking, how it can improve organization, accountability, and overall lead to happier board members and communities. And then our task tracking feature can, consolidate tasks, communication, and record keeping can help staff work smarter and reduce issues and errors that slow projects down. You can log tasks for meeting minutes, add a due date, and appoint tasks to team members. And then finally, the tips and tricks, use of the mobile app, enabling email notifications, add attachments, and the running of reports. So if tasks is not something that your community is using already and is not part of your current Condo Control package, we do suggest, you have your property manager, board admin reach out to discuss having it added. All right, so with that, we will now begin our question period. Thank you so much, Maria, for being our guest speaker. As we said, if you do have any questions, please submit them in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so let's get this started. All right, so let's see, our first question. From Joanne, how does one coordinate between tasks, service requests, and maintenance modules? Maria, how does one coordinate these three?
That's a very good question. I would say that we do foresee this need to be implemented in the foreseeable future. Currently, we do not have the linkage between the three. Totally understandable that this is a very high need in case, you create a service request and then there is a task out of it and you want to have a traceability and easy connection between the features. We definitely have this on our radar. Please do not forget to, upvote this idea on our feedback forum. We will share the link to it in our chat for everyone's reference. And if you're logged into Condo Control, if you have an account with us, it will make the upvoting process even easier for you.
Awesome. All right, next question from Christy. We have had a number of changes in board members and condo managers over a number of years. Our current board is now using tasks as a way to preserve info and communications and track projects along the way. Do you have any advice or concerns with this type of usage versus just the condo management companies?
That's an interesting question. I wouldn't say that we have heard any concerns from our clients using the tasks feature specifically for this purpose. We have clients having over 1,000 tasks where they do track everything related to condo upgrades or important decisions in the tasks feature. And it's proven to be pretty efficient. Our system always maintains to be, 100% uptime, meaning that you can have access to the feature at any given point of time. And as Rebecca mentioned, on the go from your mobile app. So I wouldn't say there is a particular issue with using the task feature. I do see some of the users occasionally exporting the information and like board meeting minutes, for example, and storing them in the file library with certain permissions for the folders accessible to staff groups. But I would say that's the only kind of connection that I see between the different features. Tasks has been proven to be pretty much stable for years in our system.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for the question. Okay, next from Claire. How do you suggest we best use the module for projects with multiple subtasks that require voting? We currently are using the task titles to keep track. I'm also interested in the relationship and integration with task actions generated from service requests, incident reports, etc. Okay.
It looks like a very similar question that has been asked before in terms of interconnectivity of features within Condo Control. We are definitely, again, keeping this in our radar. We have existing ideas on the feedback forum that you can upvote. And believe me, the ideas that collect the most votes is something that goes directly into the priority list for the product. And I definitely have seen the idea circulating there around introducing the subcategories for the task or subtasks feature within the task module. So it's definitely something that others have voiced as well. So please upvote this idea and stay tuned.
Thank you very much, Claire, for that question. All right. Next. From Rick, can the vote results be hidden until the vote window has closed?
We display the votes always on the task module until the voting is closed. And after, obviously, all of this information is retained there for historical purposes. I totally understand that sometimes you might want to possibly leave it as hidden, almost like using the survey feature until the results are fully collected. We currently do not have this capability, so please add it as an idea or suggest it to your CSM to promote it further.
Right. Another question here from August. Is there a better way to book appointment with property manager and 10 board members? That can certainly be a task that can What do you suggest, Maria, in this case? Just a meeting
Yeah, I just
coordination.
trying to understand this question better.
Uh,
Um, Obviously outside of the regular Zoom meetings and creating a task. So if the question is more about scheduling the best time and coordinating that, even create, I'm just thinking out loud, creating
mhm.
a task with, vote description suggesting different options. And asking the board of directors to kind of like in comments add what is their preference could be one of the solutions. Um, if we're talking about the task feature.
Mhm. We also suggest if you do have any questions that aren't fully answered here, that you follow up with your customer success manager for further assistance. Another question here from Nicola. For the voting results, it didn't seem to show that you approved the task. It showed your comment, but not what your vote was. Did I miss that?
Yeah, I definitely we can definitely demonstrate to you, Nicola, once you reach out to your CSM. Your name together with your vote is definitely displayed on the table with the task votes. The grid will essentially separate the votes into in favor, against, and abstain, and then you will see a name of a particular individual under a particular grid.
Yep. A couple questions here from Joanne. So can we post task reports in electronic form in the condo control library for all owners to view? And then secondly, is there a way to automatically collect reports and post?
Um, so definitely there are two questions here. In terms of the first one, you can always easily export the Excel file or whatever is the format that you prefer, maybe PDF, and then upload it in the file library so that it can be accessed by residents. You just need to configure the file library permissions for the residents to access it. And additionally, the file library, whenever you upload the file, has an option for you to send a notification so that residents do not have to wonder what the file is about and when it was posted. In terms of the second question, we do not currently have the ability to automate reports. That is something that we're definitely looking into.
Okay, let's see. Can you assign more than one user group to a single task? From Patricia.
That's a good question. We currently allow assignment only to one group or particular individuals. So, totally clear that it might not be the ideal workaround in your case, but if you know which individuals are part of which groups, you can always assign the task to multiple individuals by selecting them.
Last question from Janine. What is the difference between the vote and the decision required checkbox?
Think of decision required checkbox as more of an indicator that you want to kind of highlight for everyone in the team. It is not necessarily related to a specific action. Um, but it just serves as an indicator for everyone with access to the task to understand whether there is something they need to do and act on the task. Now, the task voting feature has been developed by us after, relatively recently. And it is more of an enhancement of this decision required field, which allows you to be more proactive with, your decision on the task.
Okay. From Bill, can you confirm that the voting feature works on the mobile app?
It currently is not available on the mobile app for the task feature. It is something definitely on our roadmap for the upcoming quarters.
And Bill also asks if you can add the superintendent to the tasks.
Again, the access to task feature is available to users in staff group. Now, if your superintendent is a staff group, you can always enable access for them to the task feature.
A question from Diane. Can I group tasks by categories?
That is not currently available for our feature. I believe in one of the answered questions, I did share the link to the idea where you can upvote this suggestion. It definitely is collecting more and more feedback from our existing clients.
Mhm. Okay. Mm, just looking through our questions here. Does from Marilyn, does the tasks feature come with Condo Control and we just need it accessible to board members, or is it an add-on module?
The task feature is part of our premium package. You can always discuss the details with your customer success manager in terms of the pricing.
Which I think also answers another question there about cost. So yes, please do reach out to your customer success manager for quote on that. Janine, looking for a way to add tags to tasks such as legal, admin, financial projects. This was, I guess, also answered, I believe, Maria, when you answered about categories. So I don't think there is ability to add any tag, but
Yes, currently there is no ability to add the tag. Definitely we can see the value of that as well as sub-categorization of the tasks.
yeah. Um, let's see here. Is it from Joanne? There's a couple questions. Is there a way to publicize discussions and votes that occur in tasks in order to accommodate mandated transparency regarding board discussions and votes?
Um, that obviously depends on how you envision publicizing this information. You know, if you want to probably keep some of the information private, like contact details or names of board of directors, um, including their units, then you probably want to format the information in the report before you share it in the file library. But typically, this is what we see in some of our communities. The information from task report is being exported, formatted, and then added to the file library.
Mhm. Another question here. If you have a due date on a task, how do the reminder emails work? Do they go to all board members? And can you select a reminder email period? That is, 1 week before, 1 day before, etc.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The in terms of the reminders, we can get back to you to answer this question in more detail. So please keep reaching out to your CSM so that we can provide you with more extensive, because we have multiple email notifications related to the task feature. But I think that your question comes more as a reference to service request feature, which allows you to send a reminder certain number of days in advance before the due date. Our functionality with the task is a little bit less extensive, so you do not really select when to send a reminder for. The due date is definitely a visual indicator everywhere across the system for what is the the due date that you need to act on. In terms of the email notification, we'll reach out to you separately.
Thank you. This might have been answered before about subtasks from Michelle. She asks, is there a way to add a checklist within a task? Say if we have a small project with multiple steps involved.
Yeah, I believe that this has been answered. We shared, especially if you're a Condo Control member, to upvote the ideas shared with from other, customers of ours, and this helps us in product to prioritize what feature is really most important for all of you and what we should prioritize.
A question from Rowena. Are you able to do separate permissions specific to board members and homeowners?
Um, I'm trying to understand, if this question is more related to tasks or to a different feature. But if we're thinking about tasks, then just from the get-go, the feature is only accessible to users in staff groups.
Mhm.
That's a very clear separation. No one none of the owners, renters, or residents should be able to access this feature. So now the more higher level permission depends on which of the staff groups you want to give it access to.
From Charna, if the task feature is available to all co-owners, is this not replicated in monthly minutes?
If by co-owners we are referring to owners, then no, the feature is not available to users in resident type groups.
From Janine, can a task be assigned to a vendor? Can a calendar event be linked to a task?
In terms of the calendar event, we do not currently have this functionality. Although if you are talking about attaching the calendar event to a particular feature, stay tuned for some of our updates for the event module first. In terms of the second part of the question, just trying to catch up on that.
Oh, can you assign a vendor to a task?
Well, it depends again on whether you want to add vendor as a user in staff type group, because vendors are, probably users that are not, you do not want to give access to rest of the features. But if you only allow them access to the task module and you're comfortable with them, seeing all of the tasks, then you can do so. It could be a workaround.
A question here, can I add links to web pages in the description of the task? Will it be a hyperlink sending me to that web page when I click on it?
You might notice that all of our features have a unified text editor that allows you to enter images, allows you to enter the hyperlinks, so this should be accessible in the task module.
Yep. A question from Peter here. How does service request tracking differ from task tracking?
The task tracking differ from the service request tracking. Am I understanding the request correctly? So the difference is obviously about the audience. The task module is specifically designated for users in staff groups. And I must make a small correction that to the answer we previously shared about vendors. The tasks feature is only available to the built-in groups, and built-in groups is board of directors or property manager. So the vendor unfortunately will not have the access to the feature. So this is already a very high level separation of who is the intended audience. Now, the service request is mostly intended for the residents to communicate with property managers directly. There, we have obviously an option allowing residents to, indicate whether they want to communicate with board of directors or property managers around a particular service request, but the intention of the feature is different. Service request is just about residents, sharing their opinions about what they essentially need from the property management. And task feature could be essentially a step number 2, where after a particular problem is raised by a property manager, it could become a task for discussion by board of directors using the task module.
Thank you for that question. We have a question about, is there a way to edit the tasks report to shield confidential or private info about specific owners from broad public view? I think we already answered this in the sense that the report would not be viewable to the owners, right?
Yeah, the feature is not viewable, but again, if the question was more in line of how can we shield information, well, our report can be exportable in any number of formats. So if you export it in CSV and you want to just format some of the sensitive information, you can do so and then convert it into PDF upload to file library.
Let's see. From Christy, I'm chair of the board. If I create a task and assign to a non-board member and that person responds, do all the group members of the board see that response? So like a property manager, so
Non-property manager.
yeah, if I create a task and assign to a non-board member and that person responds, do all the group, quote, group members of, no, they would not, I believe.
Um, so it depends on which which email preferences the rest of the team members have. Especially if you decide to follow all of the tasks, it essentially means that whenever the new task is created, you will be notified about the new task, because assignment of the task essentially happens when the task is created or updated, and those two actions are tied to the emails generated.
Mhm. Okay. From Janine, we are looking for a way to filter tasks by the person who it's assigned to. For example, our treasurer to log in on a Sunday and see all tasks related to her without wading through all the tasks.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. We currently do not have the functionality allowing to filter that, but if you preferred to, that's probably not the best workaround to run a report and find the information by assignee and you know, filter the information using the report functionality. This is what could be done. But definitely, again, we see the value of introducing more filters into the task module so that it's more sortable and the information can be searched and filtered in an easier way.
Mm. Mhm. This question here asks, do you have the ability to provide email addresses for board members so they are not using personal addresses? As in like
Uh,
condo control?
Um, we Please reach out to your CSM. I believe we might still be supporting the ability to maintain a specific email address that should not be the one, let's say, you would want to share. But again, keep in mind that the information stored in Condo Control is confidential, meaning that the residents are not ever having access to any emails from board of directors. Um, Especially if we're talking about the task features that is only accessible to users in staff type groups.
Mhm. Mm. This question is asking if a board approves a quote, they vote on a quote, for example, who is responsible to contact the contractor to go ahead with the project? Um,
I would say this is more of an internal operations question.
mhm.
As content control will provide you ability to like collect the votes, and then if you give property manager access to the task and they have the ability to, let's say, follow all of the tasks. Obviously, it requires them to be subscribed to email notification or go into tasks and review all the unread tasks. You can always, reassign the task to a particular individual after the voting has happened so that administrators, let's say, understand, okay, this is what I need to work on next.
This question here is asking about how long task tracking records are kept. How can I track previous info from owners? The length of time.
Um, so just to confirm, owners do not have access to tasks. So if you're referring to reviewing previous information as let's say content control being used by a community for a long period of time and there is a change in management, we do not remove the history of tasks as long as the account is active. So if there is a change in management, there is a possibility of reviewing the historical information.
And then we have one last question here. Is access to tasks all or nothing? In other words, can access to specific tasks be individualized? That is, some accessible to staff subgroups and others not.
This is access for all of the tasks.
Mhm. All right. Those are all the questions we have. Just going to wait another few moments, see if any other questions come through. But thank you, everybody, for your participation. I really appreciate it. That doesn't look. Oh, the information of the old tasks. Right. I don't think, Maria, I
I
don't
would
think,
recommend to discuss it with your CSM,
yeah.
just to understand your situation in particular, whether you're an active client or your account is no longer active with Condo Control. It depends on your situation, so I recommend you to discuss it with your CSM.
And then this question asks, who can pull reports?
We have permissions to access the reports functionality. So if some of your staff members must never have access to the reports, you can always add them to the group that should not have access to the report functionality.
All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for your questions. We are now going to close the question period. Thank you again, Maria, for these answers and being our speaker with that demo today. If you would like to contact us, you can go to condocontrol.com, send us an email at customersuccess@condocontrol.com, or call us at 1-888-762-6636. All right, we appreciate everybody joining us for today's webinar. After this Zoom meeting ends, just a reminder, a short survey will appear in your browser. So if you don't mind taking the time to fill this out, we would greatly appreciate your feedback on that. All right. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you.